Alright, so they decided to come up with a fourth edition of the game, and I saw a preview of it before I left America. And one of the things the preview says there are going to be no gnomes and no bards. I was playing a gnomish bard at the time, so that gave me a sour impression of fourth edition. And it was never available in the store in this country. I couldn't go to a store and pick one up and flip through it like I had every other edition before deciding to spend this much money on a book. But so I did download a pirated copy of it, put it on my little phone, and tried to read it. And I couldn't make heads or tails of it. I was just totally... The artwork, the way it was laid out, it was hard for me to comprehend, and the whole idea of every class having spells. And I was not the only one turned off by 4th edition. There are people who played it and thought it was a great game, but it was very different from anything that had ever come before. And so a lot of people who were big into 3.5 moved over to Pathfinder. So by making this open game source, Wizard of the Coast had shot themselves in the foot. That there was now they lost a lot of their buyers, a lot of customers to Pathfinder because they didn't want to make the change to 4th edition. It was too different. When 2nd edition came out, it was so close to 1st that the campaign I played in, we just kept playing, and when we need to look something up, we'd look it up in the 2nd edition. That's how a lot of us transferred. Here's some pictures of the owl bear. But the change between 2nd and 3rd, and between 3rd and 4th, was so big that both times, a lot of players didn't make the change. And the artwork, it's technically good, but yeah, here it's too much. It's hard to see what's going on in this picture. Yeah, it's like, where's Waldo? What's going on in this picture? But one of the good things about this era is they published deluxe editions of 1st edition books. And even the original version. The original version was too expensive, and so I never did get that. But 1st edition, I really wished that I had bought these when they first came out, because they were really high quality at first, but later the deluxe reprints were not as good a quality as the first few, which had a ribbon and it had gold on the edges of the pages. They were really cool. And yeah, they didn't redo everything. They could sell me some more of these if they would do more of this. In particular, I want a Deities and Demigods book with Cthulhu and Melnibone published in this format, and I want an Oriental Adventures published in this format. Because I've got 2 copies of Oriental Adventures. One of them is completely fallen apart, and the other one's threatening to. So there's some more artwork from this era. There's Caves of Chaos. Yeah, so apparently 4th edition was a fun game, but it was so different that people who'd played a previous version didn't like it. And people who started with this didn't want to move away from it. But I've heard stories about playing this and it taking 3 hours to do a round of combat because of how fiddly it was. But it was made to compete with video games. So after a few years of this, They decide to try to get back their base with a new edition.